Welcome to If News. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you never miss a breaking story. It has been a while since we last had a news video, so I have 3 news stories and I will try and be a little more regular with this type of video, if that is something you guys would like to see. First up is a return of a lake monster. At the end of last December, on the 30th to be exact, a photo was captured of what is claimed to be an unexplained creature in the Catawba River. For the longest time there have been legends of a monster snake said to live in and along the shores of the North Carolina waterway. The legends date back centuries. The Catawba First Nations people are indigenous to the Charlotte area and have long told stories of many cryptid creatures found locally. Their folklore tells of monster snakes and giant leech creatures which are said to attack people who unwisely venture into the water. The Catawba cryptid has little in the way of hard evidence, but for the longest time many have speculated on what the creature could be. Alligators have occasionally been seen and captured in the river. Lake Norman, another site near Charlotte created by damming up a river, is said to be home to a creature called the Lake Norman Monster. A website is devoted to alleged sightings of it, which some say is a giant fish more than a mystery monster snake. There is a grainy photograph which was snapped at Sunset Point picnic area on Lake Wylie. The photo posted online shows what many think to be the head of the creature poking out of the lake. As it moves through the water, it leaves a wake of several feet behind it. Nextdoor.com, a community networking site, was abuzz with theories on what the mystery photograph showed. Jessica Plate captured the picture and wrote online, "Lake Wylie Monster. I know this picture isn't the greatest, but tonight while walking around the lake in our neighborhood, we saw this 3 to 4 foot thing moving in the water. At first, I thought it was a dog or deer. Shoot, maybe even a scuba diver." She managed to capture the image around 7:15 p.m. on a Saturday, and the thing appeared at first to be swimming toward her, then turned away. She said the wake it made was enormous. Please, does anyone know what it was? Plate claimed to the news reporters that she was unaware of the myth of a river snake until she saw the responses to the image which she'd put online. Not being a believer in cryptids, she thinks the sensible explanation is that it was an alligator, despite the fact alligators do not live in the lake. Others suggested it was a big nasty snake, with the more skeptical saying it was nothing more than a floating log. Beavers, muskrats and otters were a few of the other suggestions. Plate said there was no way this creature, it was way too big. So, what do you think was captured swimming in the river? Is it a cryptid of myth and legend, a mystery, out-of-place animal, or simply floating debris? On to the next story, which sees scientists experimenting with gene editing and something which could go horribly wrong. From Planet of the Apes to the island of Dr. Moreau, the creation of chimeras, human-animal hybrids, has never been portrayed in a good light. This has not dissuaded scientists from going ahead and putting human intelligence genes into a monkey. Researchers in China have gone about trying to improve the short-term memory of a monkey in a study published in the Chinese journal National Science Review. The researchers have been hoping to achieve increased memory so that they could develop treatments that may help people with brain illnesses that affect memory. Geneticist Bing Su of Kunming Institute of Zoology investigated how a gene linked to brain size, MCPH1, might contribute to the evolution of the organ in humans. Science is aware that all primates have some variation of this gene. However, in humans, it makes brains larger, more advanced, but slower to develop. The researchers looked at the differences that evolve in the human version of MCPH1 with the gene in primates. This, they hoped, might explain our more complex brains. Using macaque embryos, The human gene was introduced and the monkeys were left to develop. The scientists saw some strange results. Although the monkeys' brains remained the same size, and in general, their behavior did not change, they did become sharper. The transgenic monkeys performed better and answered faster on short-term memory tests involving matching colors and shapes. Some question the ethics of inserting human brain genes into a monkey. Rebecca Walker, a bioethicist at the University of North Carolina, argues that this could be the start of a slippery slope towards imbuing animals with human-like intelligence, something which, if science fiction is to be believed, will not work out for us. Walker is worried about where this research leads, saying, "Could we enhance human brains through these methods?" She asks, while she thinks we're nowhere close to that yet, she notes that science can advance surprisingly quickly. For instance, CRISPR, the gene editing technique that once seemed far removed from human research, was used in China to edit the genomes of twins in 2018. It does feel worrisome to be doing this research in primates, Walker says, and then potentially thinking about how that could be used in humans. Could we see the creation of manimals? Will these creatures be part of a future society? Will they be a genetically created inferior population used by humanity? What do you think? Drop me a message in the comments below. Time for the third and final story, and it's on to UFO news with a triple report of unidentified flying objects over New York. A posting on Facebook shows a possible alien craft that was witnessed by at least 35 different individuals. 35 New Yorkers reported UFOs 3 times during 2019. Manhattan and Queens had the majority of reports, with there being 12 sightings in each borough. This, according to data from the National UFO Reporting Center. Brooklyn had 8 sightings, and Staten Island and the Bronx came in with just 2 and 1 respectively. These reports tell of a plethora of craft, most popularly described as silver cigar-shaped objects and bright green orbs. Also, many witnesses said they saw bright stars and white dots appearing over Prospect Park, according to these reports in the Washington-based center. One Brooklyn resident, Catherine Cocker King, posted a 30-second video of an orange ball bouncing around in the sky. Another witness in Kings County had an encounter that involved 6 floating craft with flashing red and white lights on December 12th at 5 a.m. The witness said, "This is not the first time I have seen alien craft outside of my window. At my home in Brooklyn," the person posted, "the first time was in October, and I swear I almost got abducted." A cigar-shaped object was seen in the sky on September 20th at 3:30 p.m. in Brooklyn. The witness here gave his report saying, "I looked out of my window and I saw a very clear trail of exhaust in the sky," he said. "I happen to live in an area where airplanes regularly fly on a few set routes, and I have gotten to know their pace, speed, and general flight paths. There are also frequently helicopters flying slightly lower in the sky than the planes. The craft were moving at a remarkable speed." In Queens, a driver told of how he had stopped for a red light at 112th Street and Northern Boulevard in Corona on July 22nd at 3:55 p.m. Looking up, he became transfixed by a flat, saucer-like object that released a bright green orb directly above him. The state of New York saw 52% increase in UFO sightings to 164 incidents last year, this from 108 in 2018. Why? What is going on in New York that is of such great interest to these extraterrestrial visitors? This wraps up the news stories for this time. Let me know what you think about the free stories and if you enjoy this new style format. As always, if you enjoy the channel, hit that red button, like and share. You can catch the latest by searching We Are If. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.